Okay, so like I was saying, I've got the facade there modelled with maybe some more of the detail. Definitely not everything, but most of the things you can see there in the elevation. I'll get rid of this. But then, if you've had a look at and compared that to the photo, or if you want to have a look at the real thing, you would have seen that the proportions are pretty different on the real elevation, and I'd recommend you adjust the facade so that it fits in with that, and you shouldn't need to change the ceiling heights if you do that. So what I've done is, let's look at the east elevation. I've brought my parapet front level, which is the level I've got for the top of that wall there, down to what you can see there, 9720, and so originally it was above 10 metres, and so that should allow you to then bring the windows down and just make some other minor adjustments there so that it fits in. And you can see there behind the parapet, I've still got the truss there. It might just go to wireframe. So you can see the truss there should still easily fit in with the roof above it behind that parapet there, if you take the level down even to this. So so that's well worth doing, because otherwise it will be difficult to get it to look right. And then the moulding and the layout of the windows, or the fenestration, essentially give you the pattern of that facade. So I'll go to maybe one of my other 3D views there, and you can see we've got the again the windows set out in these bays, which are divided fundamentally by the centre line of the building there, and then with the windows laid out to one side, on the left-hand side we've also got this division which divides up that bay into, again, two further bays. And looking in the plan, you can see, as well as the windows and the doors, obviously you can see those, but then we've also got these piers, which I've made in this case using walls. So you might have seen the earlier piers that I did were mostly done using columns. So with the column tool you can make piers, and we use those rectangular columns to do those. But in a situation like this, where you need a bit more control over the size, and also you want it to tie in with the wall that maybe it's adjoining, to do something up here like this, it's often easier to use a wall. And so the final thing there is I can use join now to join this wall to the other one, and that'll make it all read as one. So my others, I think, I know, these need to be joined as well. Okay, so that will then give you the look that you need in plan. And so before even trying that, you want to have a look at the set out for those bays and those piers. So I might just go into the other file. Let's go this way. Okay, so I've just got one where the walls haven't been added. And then looking at the set out using reference planes, I basically guesstimated or scaled off the photo those piers as being about 550 across, based on the bricks that you can count. And that's a really good method if you're not sure how to pick up measurements from a photo like this. You can just make out the brick courses, and that should be enough to at least give you a reasonable idea about the measurements, better than what you'll get from that elevation. Yes, oh yeah. Yeah, well, so I've already got the grid there, which is going to help with these piers as well, yeah, and I'll definitely tie it in with that. So, yeah, so looking at the set out for the reference planes, I'm going to make sure this is 550 from the outside of my wall. And it's a good idea to have a reference plane on the edge of the wall as well. Okay, so then I can copy this, or copy those two reference planes. So I just selected them using Control, and then I'm going to use Copy, on the Copy button, and I'm going to snap to the intersection of the second reference plane and the wall, and then take that up to the corner of the wall on the other end. Then I'm going to copy again both of those, this time just roughly in between them, and I'm going to take it down to the center line, and just to make sure they're centered, I'll just go in and make them what I know is half the distance, which would be 275. Okay, so I know that altogether between those is still going to be 550, which is the important thing. And then we've got a pier somewhere here. So to work that out, if you have a look at the image that's inserted, then you can use that as a guide. But you can see already that there must be something wrong with this plan, because there is a big pier there and they've shown this door going into it. So again, you're going to need to use your judgment, have a look at the photo and use that as a reference rather than just the drawings. And so again, with copy, I'll just pick those up. Again, really doesn't matter too much where, as long as maybe just do it somewhere on the wall as my base point, and then I'm going to take it roughly down to the other side of that garage door opening, and using the arrows on the keyboard, I'm just going to nudge those reference planes into position. Okay, so having done that, I just want to check the distance maybe between those planes and see if it's a round number. It's going to make it easier for you if it is. So here it's coming up as 2856. So I'll make that 2850. And again, just make sure this is still 550. I'm going to move that away and just change it again just to make sure. Okay, so back in my floor plan, I can add in the pier, which I'm going to use a wall to make. So just with the wall tool, I'm going to go to one that I've made earlier. It's a generic wall, but I've made it 120 thick. So that'll be a brick and some render. And then I'm going to set my height for now to level 1 ceiling. It doesn't go all the way to the top. And then the location line, finish face interior. And then I'm just going to draw along the face of the wall that's already there. Now it's going to the wrong side, but I can use space to flip that as I'm drawing it. Cancel this one and then go along and do the next one. Then space each time. If I draw from the top, I wouldn't need to use space, because that's going clockwise. Okay, so looking in the 3D view now, let's go to shaded and get rid of my stair. Okay, so you can see there these projections, and that's a really simple way of doing piers and other projections like that, rather than trying to set up a complicated column or something else. And the advantage of doing it that way, apart from the fact that it's really quick and easy, is that you can easily change the length of that without going and making a type or something like that. And so now to make it read with my other wall or join with it, and of course use join geometry, choose the new wall and the one next to it. Here there are two, so I need to choose one new wall and this one going down from the side as well. And I can just go along and do that with all of those walls, like I was showing you before. So, okay, so that'll give you a good setup for the piers. And then all you should need to do to get the openings is use the ones that I've put in the library for you. So with the door, I'll just make sure I gave you the door actually. I think I did. So it should all be in the Museum Sensors Resources folder, and you have, yep, there we are, door shutter with fixed glass. Okay, so an easy way of loading a family, if you have it open in a folder like this, or if you can see it in a folder like this and you don't want to go browsing for it again, just open it there, double click on it from there, and then you can go to load into project, and then just tick the one you want. Okay, now it's coming up with nothing selected, but if I click on the door tool, then, well, that didn't get loaded. Okay, so what's happened there? Switch back to it. Ah, sorry, that was my window I double clicked on. So I'll make sure I get the door, which, yeah, I didn't put into that folder, so I'll go and get that for you right now. So annoying the way it does this. That's V3, V4. Okay, so then it's here, that door, and it's actually not the best door because I haven't put door jambs on it, but at least it has the glass panels. So I'll you can save that into your resources folder. Okay, so it's just called double glass no trim, and so I'll again load that in to my other project, and there we are. So normally it will come up selected when you first load something in, and so there we are. I can see I can place the door, so that's working. I'll let you work out the size from the drawings, and then to put the transom above it, you can just use a fixed window and place it above that. But the one that I've made, again, I better just go back into another file. Yep. So I've adjusted this quite a bit just to take out all the extra moulding and the trim and things that they give you that you won't need. So again, I'll save that into your folder. Okay, so this one's just called mfix no trim. And the size that I've used should be set up there. There we are. So at the bottom, and I'm just making sure the size that I've ended up with is the name. No, so the name there, I've used the height that it should be in the end, so I better make that the name, which is 1150. So it's fairly high fan light. And so a good trick there when you're placing that in plan is just to place it over your door and not worry about the height at first. You can see it's even giving me trouble when I try to go right over the door because my door's too narrow. Sorry, my door's too wide, so the window's too narrow. So I'm just going to place it to one side. And that's fine. If it gives you a warning, you can just click OK. And then I can, well, firstly, with my door, see if the size that I want is there, and since it isn't, I'll go and make that. So this one is the right width, 1550 wide. So, yep, so I'm going to edit this door, and, oh no, sorry, it is there, 1550. Okay, so you'll have that size when if you use that same door. And then with align, I can choose the center line of the door and then center line of the window. Then looking at the door, if you have a look at the properties, you'll see the height there is 2100. So I'm going to select the window. And then properties, set the sill height to 2100. So it sits on top of the door. And then you won't see it in plan anymore after that. So it's worth doing all those things first before you set the height. You can still get to it in... Oops, let's go to another 3D view. Okay, so you can still get to it in your 3D view. You can see there it's on the outside. If I select that and then spacebar, that'll flip it to the inside. The windows should be much easier. You can just load the other windows in directly. So I'll even do that maybe in this 3D view, just clicking on the window button, load family, and then in, again, same folder, which I'll just browse to. So I'll start, I suppose, with this one, and that's the lower level casement window. And you'll see something interesting happen if you've already loaded a family. It can seem like it won't load for you. So I'd loaded this family previously, and because of that, even though I went to load family, and I have loaded it, it's still got the previous one selected. So all you have to remember is that if you've loaded something previously and you load it again, you still need to select it in the list there. And so this is the one, oh no, so that's the one below that I just loaded, double shutter with fixed glass. And you'll see this if you've tried it already. When you try to load families that you've already loaded, you will notice that it won't select them for you. So just remember to select them from the type from the list here, and then that'll always work. So 1500 by 1500 is the size for those lower level windows, and then you could just place them fairly roughly at first and then line them up in the elevation afterwards. The upper level windows, same thing. This one, I think because it's already, I haven't loaded already, it should select it. So double glass, no trim is the upper story window. I know I have loaded this one already. So again, it's giving me a message telling me I've already loaded it. So it's asking if I want to overwrite the previous version, and that's a good reminder that you've loaded it already. Okay, so again, I'd have to go and select that from the list. Okay, so I'll just place those fairly roughly. If you look for the sill line, that can help to get the height right, or to at least get it onto the right level. And so this is the one with the trim, which you'll get from the library. So I'll just give you my new one. So I've made an adjustment to that family and basically deleted the trim, which is something you'd probably want to do with most of the families, the window families that Revit gives you. So they're done the American way, which is to have, often to have architraves on everything, and you definitely don't want those on this building. So again, I'll show you that family. You won't need to do anything with that, but if you do want to change families on your own, it's easy to open them like this and just delete the parts that you think are causing a problem. So I'll again save that so you can get to it. So I'll call it casement double, no trim. Okay, so this time, because I hadn't loaded this one previously, it has selected it for me. But, again, you'll still need to look in the list to see the different sizes. So, this is where Revit can actually cause a lot of problems, because people get lazy, to be honest, and just reliant on the computer doing all the work for them, and not looking at what they're doing. So when you're placing things like doors and windows, you've still got to be aware that there are different sizes set up, and if you just choose the first one, or if you just leave it on the first one, usually it's not going to be the right size. So you do have all the sizes set up that you need, and so 820 by 1600 is what I worked out the size to be roughly from the photo, not from the drawing. So trust me, that's much more accurate than going off that drawing. Oh yeah, so sorry, I was deleting those windows, and what I should have done was select them and change them in properties to the one that I've just loaded. But it's not that difficult to place new ones if you need to. Okay, so that'll give you most of the facade. The garage door is a really easy one, which you can just load from the doors folder in the main library. You don't even need to go into any special folder for that. Just the honestly, either of those overhead doors, but I'll go for the overhead rolling door. Okay, so I'm going to just place that roughly on the outside, and then I'll select it afterwards and use space to flip it, or to try and flip it on the inside. There we are. And I'll let you work out the size. Okay, so to give you a hint, it's the same as the top of this opening here. So you can work that out from the elevation if you get the door and the window in there, and then that'll give you the height for the top of these windows as well, and that garage door. And then because you'll have the piers in there, you'll be able to measure the distance between those, and that'll give you the size you need to make that roller door. So we could just maybe do that in edit type, but I'll leave that as it is. Then for the section over here, it's easiest if you make an opening. So you have the opening section on the architecture tab, and it's easy to miss, but it's a really useful tool if you haven't had a look at that. And so just when you click on wall opening, you can select any wall, and then just roughly at first draw a rectangle, which will make an opening for you. Then you can fine tune that. So if you select that opening afterwards, you can stretch the sides using the arrows, stretch the top, and get the size that you need. So again, that's something you'll need to work out. You've got all the information to work that out. And then inside that, you can draw a curtain wall. And that is no more difficult than a normal wall. So it's just drawing a wall with, in your list of types, curtain wall 6mm thick glazing, which is a single sheet of glass. Okay, so the height there, I'm just going to guess at the moment, if I go to unconnected, it would be about 2.2 metres. Oops, 2200. And I'm going to draw it from the top, from the midpoint of my opening down to the bottom. Check it in 3D view. And so I've deliberately made it lower than my opening because that, I know, should be about the height of a door. If you look at the elevation, again, just trying to think about the rationale for this. There's a door there, and that gives you the height of this. So that's a standard door height, or close to it. All right, now the next part, it's something you maybe haven't done before. With curtain walls, you can make your own grids, and it's on the main toolbar, so it's easy to find. So with curtain grid, clicking on that curtain wall somewhere, I can put in a grid line or division. And then I can use tab, select that panel, go to edit type, load, go to curtain wall panels and get the double glass, the door with double glass and D-pulls. This is what I'm going to use. Now, you'll see in my new one, I've changed some of the properties, but for now, I'm just going to put it in as it is, and it's not bad, even just like that. So, when you start using curtain walls, it's important to realise you can still put doors and windows into them, but you just do it a bit differently to regular walls. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, the way it joins can be a bit confusing until you put the mullions on. So, it is all based on the mullions. So, with the mullion tool there, I'm just going to leave it on the default one. And this building, it has mullions going all the way around. So, I can just choose all the sides there and even the division, and that'll fix most of that up. Don't worry too much if it doesn't line up perfectly. You're not expected to do shop fitting for this. But, now, I just better change something there. I've got mullions then going into my section where the door is. So you can always just delete that part of it and delete it. So then the one down here as well. Just make sure I get that. Delete it. There we go. So then I can bring the opening down so that it joins. Okay, in elevation you can do that more accurately, but that's okay for now. Right, now my proportions are wrong, it should be wider, but that's the basic way you make it. And then with the moulding, like I said, it's optional, but just to give you a basic idea how easy some of it can be, I'm just going to go to Model in Place and use walls as my category. And then I'm going to use sweep to make this. And once you've seen this done, I mean, you've hopefully been using this tool a fair bit already. So I'm just going to go to Sketch Path, and then using the line tool, trace all around the front of the building there. So tracing those piers and everything else. Alright, so that's my path. Tick to finish. And then I want to get a profile that's not loaded. So you can see there in my list, I don't have moulding profile, which is the one I want, or exterior moulding profile, I think is what I called it. So I'll need to go and load that afterwards, and that's fine. I'm just going to choose any profile for now. So really, it doesn't matter which one. Fascia, whatever. Okay, tick to finish. And then that'll make my sweep, which if I look in the 3D view, is of course not at all what I want. But that's fine. I'm just getting that for the pass. I'm going to finish that model. And then to load that profile, the easiest way is to open it first. Or, no, sorry, I'll show you a quicker way. So on the Insert tab, just go to Load Family. And then, again, it's in the same folder as all the other families I've just given you. So in Museum, Sensors, Resources, and where are we? Okay, Exterior Moulding Profile, you can see there. So now that's loaded, I can just select my family, edit in place, select the sweep, edit sweep. Make sure you can see the panel. So just there I've got to click select profile to bring that list back. And now, if I go into that list there, I can see exterior moulding profile. Now, if you look at that, you can see it's gone inside the building. I want it to go outside, so you've got this option on the options bar just to flip, which will flip it to the outside. And that's done. So I'll finish that now. So you can see it's made the moulding. If I go to the east elevation, I can see that from the front, and you can see it's on the ground. I want to lift it up now, and with the arrows you can see it's not moving. To make it move, you just need to click on the diamond. That button there dissociates it from the work plane. And you'll see this with all your solids. If you want to move them off the plane, use that button, and now with the arrow key and shift, I can lift that up to roughly where the first floor starts. And then I'm just going to click copy and bring that up to the roughly to the top of the wall. But you can see here this has the original height that you would have probably had as well before, and we've realised that that should come down to about 99720, something like that. And if you've set up your levels properly, that will just bring your wall down, and that's where that moulding should go. Oops, don't want to bring them both. So to move just one of them, I've got to go back to edit in place, and there we go. So the final thing then is the other smaller areas of moulding, and I'm just going to show you those in my new file because I want to finish this. But okay, so you've got these bands that run in between the piers, which are even easier to make. I've just used extrusions to make those. So I won't show you how to make those. That should be fairly easy for you to make if you can make the sweep. And that'll give you the whole facade, which, like I was saying before, might not be essential to have all done in 3D, but definitely if you're doing things with the entry, it's going to be a good thing to have. So I'll just finish